Well, folks, welcome back to another video right here on Jason's Wrestling Channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about Steve Borden, aka Sting. Now, Sting started out in the smaller wrestling promotions along with Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior, or the Dingle Warrior at the time. And they went through the smaller promotions and they wrestled. Eventually, Sting would get a contract with the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. And Jim Hellwig would get a contract with the World Wrestling Federation as the Ultimate Warrior. So Sting went to the NWA, and he had a lot of great matches. They did this storyline where he was in the Four Horsemen, and he got kicked out of the Horsemen because he signed a contract with the promoter saying that he would face Ric Flair for the world title. And the Horsemen weren't too happy about that. They didn't like the fact that Sting went to the promoter and signed the contract saying that he would face Ric Flair for the world title because he was a member of the Four Horsemen that, Ric Flair was the leader of. And the other horsemen didn't like it, so they gave him an ultimatum. You tear up that contract and we let you live, or you wrestle him. Either way, you're kicked out of the Horsemen. Sting goes, not a chance. So then they tied him up from the ropes. And Ole Anderson goes, we're going to give you 24 hours to make up your mind as to what you're going to do. And then Ric Flair came, and he's like, I tried to tell you. I bought you some time. Now do the right thing. Spark up. Tear up the contract. Get out of the business. Get out of our lives today. So then it went into the Great American Bash. Sting versus Flair. And Sting beat Flair for the world title. I believe that was his first world title. He had the big gold belt, which was the NWA title. And then later on in his career, he would win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. In 1993, Ric Flair took the big gold belt and went to the WWF because he had put a deposit down on it. And there's a guy named Jim Herd that didn't want Sting to be the world champion again. And Flair felt that Sting deserved the opportunity. So then he left WCW because his contract was coming up and he took the belt with him. And he was parading it on WWF TV. And Sting they got a new belt where Sting became World's Heavyweight Champion. And then he lost it to Vader. And Flair would eventually give the belt back to WCW. And then Flair would eventually come back. And then 1996 came. It was Fall Brawl. Sting, they had a fake Sting. The NWO had a fake Sting that looked just like him that attacked Luger out in the parking lot. Now, Sting wasn't even in the arena when it happened. And they accused Sting of attacking Luger. And so during before the match at Fall Brawl, Sting came and confronted Luger and said to Luger, I'm going to give you one more chance. and Steve, it wasn't me out there, you know. And Luger goes, I don't believe you. He goes, I don't care what you have to say, and I don't believe you. So then they went to the match, and then Sting came out later on, because the fake Sting was in the ring, and proved that it wasn't him. Proved to all the fans and everyone that doubted him that it wasn't him that attacked Luger in the parking lot. So then he went back to the back, and he wouldn't help Lex Luger. He wouldn't do anything. He came back on TV the next day, and he's like, you know, for all, most of you that doubted me and said that that I was a traitor, you can stick it. So then he threw the microphone and left the ring. And then he started coming down from the rafters in this new character against the NWO. He would make appearances. They have more than one fake Sting coming into the ring, which was interesting because they, you know, you never knew if it was a real Sting or not because he wore, like, his face was all painted white. And, you know, they had more lookalikes than anything because he totally changed his appearance. And then at Starrcade 1997, Hulk Hogan and Sting wrestled for the WCW Championship. Sting ended up beating Hogan at Starrcade 93. 97. And sadly, WCW was starting to fall apart around that time. They didn't know what to do because every segment was about the NWO. And it got to a point where WCW wasn't doing so good in the ratings. They started losing ratings. And the people that bought AOL, people that bought Time Warner was AOL. They didn't want wrestling on their network anymore. So WCW came to an end. They put it up for auction. Vince McMahon had the highest bid and bought the company. And then on the last Nitro, Ric Flair came out and challenged Sting to the final match of Nitro, which was the final match of WCW. And they had a good match. Sting ended up winning at the end. They both hugged at the end. And that was the end. And then Sting went to Impact, TNA Wrestling. Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. And it was owned by Dixie Carter. And they had a lot of the great wrestlers in there. Jeff Jarrett was one of the promoters. He helped start that company. And he wrestled in Total Nonstop Action Wrestling for a while. And then he eventually just left the wrestling business for a while. And then he got a contract with the WWE. Vince McMahon signed him. And he had a feud. I don't remember who he feuded with. Okay, well, anyways, he wrestled at one of the pay-per-views and he got thrown onto a table and hurt his back. And then he left the WWF. And then he went to AEW, and he wrestled in AEW for a while. And now he's officially retired from professional wrestling. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like karaoke, subscribe to Flash Gordon Karaoke Channel 5000. Have a wonderful day.